Today I'm reviewing one of my all-time favourite chess books, The Art of Attack in Chess by Vladimir Vukovic. Now I'd say that this book was integral to helping me reach a rating of 2000 on chess.com Rapid. It's extremely practical, it's got everything you need to know, and I do mean everything, on how to build up to an attack, conduct an attack, and finish off an attack. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the highlights and hopefully convince you why this book deserves to be in your chess library. My name's Nathan Rose. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. I do all kinds of great content around chess, including book reviews, game analyses, tips on how to improve, lots of good stuff. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of it. The Art of Attack in Chess first came out back in 1963. And the reason that we're still reading this classic chess text today is simply because of the quality of the work. It was a real labour of love from the author, Vladimir Vukovic, who was an international master from Yugoslavia. He really brings a systematic approach to every aspect of attacking chess. You've got the book organised in 12 chapters, and the chapters have titles such as Chapter 1, Attack Against the Uncastled King. Chapter 3, on castling and attacking the castled position in general. Or Chapter 9, which is the attack on the fianchettoed and queenside castled positions. I think it's suitable for anyone who's over 1500 ELO, and that includes all the way up to masters, including grandmasters even. I think everyone will learn something from the examples he brings to bear within the pages. The way you should think of The Art of Attack in Chess is that it's a strategy book. It's not a tactics book, even though there are some brilliant combinations found within the examples. It's really about how to build up your position so that the tactics appear. As Bobby Fischer said, tactics flow from a superior position, but how do you build your position to that point where attacking motifs, sacrifices are going to actually work? If a sacrifice does work, why does it work? This is what the book is trying to convey. So what I want to do now is actually take you through some of the examples from The Art of Attack in Chess, because I think this will show you better than words can just what lies in store for you. The first example I've got here is from Chapter 6, which is titled The Classic Bishop Sacrifice, also known as the Greek Gift. This is where white sacrifices a piece on h7, and then after the king takes it, the follow-up is knight g5 check, and if the king seeks shelter back on g8, then after queen h5 threatening queen h7 mate, black doesn't really have a good defense. I mean, trying to create an escape square for the king doesn't really work because that leaves the f7 pawn loose. You could take the knight with the queen, but then clearly black is just down too much material, having lost a queen for just two minor pieces. So what else can black do? Well, king h8's even worse, because that's just a simple checkmate in two. King h6 doesn't really offer black any prospects either, because there's just a simple discovered check, winning the queen. So the critical move actually is the very brave king g6. And Vukovic points this out. This is the true test of the Greek gift sacrifice. What should white do now? Because now the king is actually guarding that h5 square, so the queen can't come that way. And there's three main moves that white should consider. You've got queen d3 check. You've got queen g4, which threatens a discovery on the black king. Or you've got h4, with the idea of h5 next. And the right way forward for white depends a lot on the exact configuration of the pieces. But what Vukovic does is he breaks it down. He really goes through several examples, looking at different placements of the pieces, different pawn structures, and working out what the next move for white should be in each case. Because it has to be all the way back here, right, before the sacrifice is made, that you have to be confident in the sacrifice's chances of success. And it doesn't always seem possible to calculate it all the way through to the end. If you were in this position, right, try and memorize this, and then you get to here, can you calculate all the way to a forced checkmate or a forced gain of material? Not so easy, not so easy at all. So sometimes you have to enter into these sacrifices with a degree of faith based on certain factors. If we go again all the way back to the starting position, the factors that are in white's favour that should make the Greek gift sacrifice work are this pawn on e5, which prevents a black piece from sitting on f6, right? If there was a knight on f6, then it would guard h7. You've also got this dark squared bishop, which prevents the king from coming to h6. You've also got the fact that black's own dark squared bishop is not on e7. If there was a dark squared bishop on e7, then after this and this, then the knight coming to g5 wouldn't really work because that bishop could just take it. The fact that Vukovic dedicates an entire chapter to the Greek gift sacrifice means that he can explore the subject in greater detail than I've seen anywhere. Let's move on to another example. One of the things I really like about the book is it gives these practical rules of thumb which are extremely useful in actual gameplay. This position comes from the game Szabo versus Kotov, 1946, and it's white to move. White's knight is being attacked, but white does have some chances on h7, and the rule that the author is getting across from this example is that in order for this attack on h7 to succeed, the knight on f6 needs to move. And this is generally true when you're trying to attack on the h7 square. So with that in mind, white should not retreat the knight. You never want to go backwards, especially not if you want to be a great attacking player, but instead to try to deflect this knight from the square that it's sitting on. And you can do this with the move knight d5. Black can't take the white knight with their own knight because then that would be mate. But if you take with the pawn, then you've got the bishop able to chop that knight off the board. The queen's attacked, mate is threatened as well. So black has the choice of either giving up their queen, or if he doesn't want to do that, getting mated. Really useful little rule of thumb. So when you're attacking on h7, look to remove that knight from f6. Let's move on to another example. This position comes from Reti versus Wolf, 1922. And it gives us a chance to take a look at one of Vukovic's favourite concepts, which he uses throughout the book, which is that of focal points. So let me explain. White's king is clearly in danger here. It's not castled, and it's not going to castle, and black has a raging attack along the e-file. And the first move I think that many players would play here is queen f2 check. That forces the white king to lose castling rights once and for all after, let's say, king to d2. But it's not immediately clear what black should do to continue. This bishop is doing a pretty good job of defending on e2. So if you go back to the start, it's the way of thinking that's important here. It's recognizing that e2 is the focal point around which black's attack revolves, and then you come up with the plan around that. And that involves deflecting the defender of the e2 square, which is the bishop, through bishop f5. If black accepts the piece sacrifice, now you go and give the check on f2. And if the king goes to d1, then you've got the knight fork. And if the king goes to d2, because we've deflected that bishop away through understanding focal points, now you can take on e2, and once the king moves, you pick up the queen on the next move. So this concept of focal points is one that the Art of Attack in chess uses a lot, and I think it'll really help improve your play. The final position I'll share is from the game Smyslov versus Florian, 1949. And as is typical for the book Art of Attack in Chess, it illustrates a concept that once you see it and learn it and understand it, you'll be able to use it in your own games and your own attacks on the enemy king. So if we check the position, white has sacrificed a piece, black's got an extra knight if we count the material, but as compensation, black's king is out in the open. It's been forced all the way out to g5. But there's actually only one move that allows white to keep the advantage, and it's not at all obvious. It's not a check, it's not a capture, but instead it's the very quiet, delicate move, queen to g7, which cuts off the black king's retreat. If you did play a check, like if you played f4 check, right, as we're taught to do, look at the checks first, the forcing moves, you're actually helping the black king back towards safety. So in the initial position, you've got to recognize the escape path that the black king wants to go down and then cut it off. So cut out the escape route for the enemy king. And queen g7 prevents the black king from getting back towards its own pieces and towards safety. A brilliant concept, and you know, it's exactly the kind of thing that you can expect a lot more of if you choose to purchase the book. So I hope that that has whet your appetite for more from Art of Attack in Chess. I've read this book cover to cover twice. That's how much I love it, and I think you'll love it too. It really is the go-to book if you want to become a better attacking player. If you'd like to grab yourself a copy, I'll post a link in the description below, and if you use that link, then it'll help support the channel and the content I create. If you did enjoy this video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. What other books would you like to hear me review? Drop me a line. Other than that, that was the review of Art of Attack in Chess. I'm Nathan Rose. Bye for now.